Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Moltrap here with Diggity, coming at you with, for reals this time, the Korean Air OSL Finals, Flash versus Effort. Look at those hardcore mofos facing off at the airplane hangar. Match 2189 of the OSL. This is crazy. Look at all those people. Look at that. It's ridiculous. Thousands of people have gathered in this hangar here, and they've all just had to wait around for half an hour. In case you missed part one, yes, they had some kind of technical difficulty. I have no idea what it was. Maybe I'll look it up later, but I don't want to spoil anything for myself. And they had to stop game one, and then both players just waited around in their booths for like 20 minutes, 30 minutes. And now we're going to get started again, and again they're going to cover it up, so I can't see what the numbers are, but whatever. Yes, so this is the rematch. Well, yeah, rematch of game one. It is considered game one again, and it looks like we're going to have kind of reversed positions of what looks like at first glance. Flash is going to be the brown Terran at the bottom left-hand corner, and Effort is going to be the white Zerg at the top right-hand corner. And I wonder if the fact that they've just had to like sit there in their booths for 20 or 30 minutes, I wonder if that's gotten to either of them. Probably not. They're probably both really stoked about this series and probably have enough juice to keep going, but still kind of a bit of a showstopper there. Anyway, we've already given a bunch of intros, so hopefully the game gets underway pretty quick here.
Yeah, I almost wonder if the switching of the colors and the color theory is going to make a big difference, because man, advantageous colors for Effort last match, and now white versus brown, not as good. It's really disappointing though. I feel like Effort is the one who's really hurting here, because Effort, I felt like he was in a good position. He was kind of in the, it felt like he had the momentum, and now nope, didn't work out. And I almost wonder if Flash, because he was thinking, you never plan to go into a game 5 obviously, but I wonder now if this might affect him if it comes to a game 5, because maybe he's throwing his game 5 game plan out now that he had the game 1 game plan, and then it got interrupted. So is he going to copy right off the bat? And Effort sending out a very, very quick drone scout just to, I think, make sure he doesn't get boxed out, make sure he can keep an eye on that tech, maybe even do a little bit of harass with that drone.
Yeah, he got some epic harassing with that drone last time, and well, I guess not epic harass, but it was epic that he got in and was able to see all the tech and everything like that. It turned out to be very important to him last time. It looks like both players are basically doing the exact same thing thus far, and they didn't really get too far into their strategies. I'm not sure if I would expect them to just do the same thing or not. It looks like Effort is going to be able to pick away at that SCV. Last time he almost killed an SCV, but it was a few hits away. Anyway, I wonder if, no, looks like Flash has his gas. Effort has gotten his 12 hatch, he's done the drone scout. So it looks like both players, despite the fact that their strategies were kind of revealed, are going to do exactly the same build thus far. And yeah, I do think Effort had the advantage as well, so it's a little bit sad for him that he's the underdog in this series. And also, look at this. Spawning in the bottom left, Flash's Marines are going to pop out on the inside of his base, so he's not going to have to lift his racks and let that drone in possibly to scout him, which is what happened the last time, which is why Effort was able to counter him so easily. He still lifts it to get the SCV out.
Still lifted it off, let the SCV out, but...
But anyway, SCV gets out, it's going to go do some scouting, and there's the factory, and yeah, it looks like we're going to see pretty much the same thing out of both.
Yeah, I think what we're going to see is Flash building a Vulture to try to provide a little bit of latent defense against any sort of Lings. I wonder if Effort's going to do something basically similar, assuming that Flash is going to do the same build. It's kind of, or maybe just going to play it straight up. And I just realized that couldn't have been Wreckroll. Wreckroll's in San Diego currently, so never mind on that. Overlord getting a little frisky and maybe going a little too far in here. Maybe this is an intentional sacrifice on Effort's part. Maybe he just wanted to, he can peek into the corner, get a good look at the SCV on gas, and then pull out. And I think he did see it there, to see a single SCV. Now he's going to back out. And SCV in the meantime for Flash wandering in, and it's seeing everything he wants to. Still, I would expect to see a Hydralist enter the tech layer, or maybe we'll see Effort do what perhaps was his original game plan on the opposite end. Machine Shop being added instead of a Vulture first, though, here from Flash.
Interesting, yeah, he had to sneak that Overlord in there. He had to double check. He just needed to spot that refinery just to make sure that the factory was up, because he's going to need that. He's got that sunken colony going down now to deal with the early vulture. And yeah, different upgrades going on, because he had the upgrades on the machine shop going after the armory previously, so I think that was probably Terran boosters for the Goliaths, because like you said, he was expecting this 3-hatch Muta thing to come in and needed anti-air. So now he's actually getting earlier upgrades, which means he's upgrading things for the vultures probably instead, is what I'm anticipating here. And then he's going to move out. He still is getting the armory, but we don't see a starport yet, which he probably would have started right now if he was going to try for the Valkyries. Maybe he thought, okay, God is giving me a second chance to not go Valkyries because I don't do well with them, and so this time he's going to not do that, and hopefully get it just second factory and work with Goliaths. I think it's probably the better way to go, especially on this map. We've got a little bit more mobility. I can see how Valkyries would be good on a map like I forgot the name of the map with the cloaked eggs, where you kind of need to have some mobility and it's hard to kill those eggs early on. But on this map, you can move around a lot, especially in your first 2 bases. Anyway, we'll have to see what goes on. But Effort doing basically the same thing. He's got a nice wall there, and Flash has gone for vulture speed for a run by, and he can't. There's a perfect wall there with the sunken colony and everything. He's not going to be able to run by with those vultures, so he's basically not going to be able to make much use of them. And oh, that larva almost dies to the vulture fire, actually. And Effort, I think, used the stop move to squeeze it over. No! The larva gets picked off. He's going to pick off Effort's larva. Holy crap. This is actually... And it's actually stopped him from getting mutas. He stopped him from getting all the mutas when his spire popped, because those 2 larvae were just killed by vultures.
I think this is a first.
Wow.
Yeah, I've never seen vulture harass intentionally going out there to pick off a larva to slow down a mutalisk build. So, and it successfully did so. The vultures going to all corners of the map now, one for scouting purposes, one to not get picked off. Additionally, maybe to push those muta back. But I think in between games, basically Flash was thinking about, okay, how can I adjust? Because I think in that last match it wasn't going to work, and what he's done is he's gotten Terran boosters, it looks like upgrading a little bit faster, more Goliaths early, and he's added an additional factory to have more of an anti-air force and more of a ground force, really to help deal with, 1, the Mutalisk Harass, and 2, the Hydra attack that kind of follows. So Flash getting a lot of information out of Game 1. I feel like he's adjusting very, very well, and it doesn't look like Effort is adjusting at all. He's basically going with the exact same build, which is going to hurt, because keep in mind the 3rd base, extremely difficult to defend just flat out. Now it looks like the mule's trying to wander around, pick off a couple of these vultures wandering back and forth, but particularly against tanks and mech, when they're bearing down on your 3rd base, it's near impossible. And right now Effort's kind of locked into a build where he's supposed to push out an attack with a big mixed Muta Hydra army, and I think that's just going to get stomped, absolutely just completely face planted against all these Goliaths and all of these all the vultures. And somehow he managed to sneak out a drone to the 1 o'clock position. I don't know how long that's going to last, and he needs to run out and kill basically all of these vultures before it's able to sneak up there and really give Flash a good indication of what's going on. This is the thing, even if he does manage to get that 3rd base up, just Flash going flat mech, I don't know that he's going to be able to produce the pure raw power to stop Flash when he decides to move out.
Yeah, Effort now, he does have a degree of map control. There are those vultures running around, and he's having a hard time dealing with those. But with those Mutalisks, Flash, he couldn't quite move out with just the Goliaths, and obviously not with the vultures as well. So Effort does have map control, and he's doing exactly what he needs to when he has map control, and that's expanding while keeping some pressure on to make sure that he retains that pressure and keeps Flash in his base. And so now he's actually pushing him with some Hydras. He's got speed upgrade on the Overlords, and he's actually pushing and clearing out those mines, which are helping Flash. Effort now pushing in, he's got a bunch of Hydralisks. He sends in the Mutalisks first. The Mutalisks are completely getting crushed by the Goliaths. And oh man, the Mutalisks get absolutely owned, and the Hydralisks were for some reason not able to follow up. I'm not sure what they were doing, targeting the bunker maybe or something, but they didn't kill any of the Goliaths underneath, maybe a couple. But for the most part, Effort's force just getting pushed back, and now he is just pumping tons of Hydras. Nice little mine there in the middle of the map. Might end up, whoa, no, actually this Hydra's randomly going around the other way, so they're not going to have to deal with that mine. But Effort now is in a little bit of trouble, and he's really going to be kicking himself about that that restart if he loses this game, because now he's in a little bit of trouble at the moment. Not a lot. He still has map control, and he's doing he's playing this really well. He's just pumping out another few Hydras to make sure he keeps that control, make sure that Flash can't move out with his Goliaths just yet, and then expanding again to his mineral only. So if Effort can keep this pressure up a little bit and keep Flash in his base for just a little bit longer, he's going to have 4 bases going, and that's going to be plenty to just crush Flash when he moves out. And that's basically, I mean, Flash can't move out until he gets a substantial force now, because there's a lot of Hydras on the field. Actually, tons of Hydras. And this, I gotta say, is indicative of how Effort has been winning his games recently. How he beat Flash in the Pro League and how he beat Cal is just aggressive play. Somehow managed to get econ and aggressive play to force them to stay in their base. And like you said, yes, a massive drop looking to be up here. Flash spots it with a vulture, and he's going to come over here and intercept it.
I really like the decision to go drop. That's the thing, when you are Zerg and you're going up against mech, you can beat it with either mobility or mass, and it looks like Effort trying to basically use both. And this is the thing, even though this drop failed, even though this drop is not going into Flash's base, it's keeping Flash back. Flash has to sit and think, okay, well, I need to have a large enough army to stop the Hydralisks that are going to be attacking me at home, and I need a large enough army to go press out. And because Effort basically just took 2 bases and went for drop, he's basically maintaining map control, ensuring that Flash isn't going to be able to move out while he builds the mass to kind of deal with it, and again, he's going to be able to maintain this mobility. He's still significantly behind on supply, but I think he's going to be able to get Ultralisks out in not too long. It looks like he's storing up a lot of gas to do just that. So as long as he keeps this, what is kind of a paltry Hydralisk army, in a position to strike kind of deep, like almost a scalpel in this situation, back and forth, and keep Flash's army back, keep it as a threat, he'll be in a good position to get Ultralisks, get Dark Swarm, and then just have overwhelming numbers to deal with this mech army.
Yeah, Flash has gotten a 3rd command center up, and he's going to try and float it up to that mineral-only base, but he's got to be careful, and that's one of the things about this map is the chokes and the ramps are such that Terran mech is very good, but they also leave you a little bit vulnerable, because like you said, you're not quite as mobile, and you have to stretch your lines very, very thin, and so I mean, basically, Effort is kind of playing like a Protoss versus Terran strategy on this map, where you get recalls so that you can keep the turn off balance. But just being able to threaten with those small drops of 4 Overlords worth of Hydras or something like that is really going to make Flash kind of have to stay in his base and stay turtled, basically. Effort now has that 4th base up and running. He doesn't have a ton of drones at all of his bases, but again, he's just playing a little bit econ low, but still managing to be very, very aggressive, and that's, like I said, been very successful for him in the past. And just running in a Muta, I think that just to scout and see what's going on in the base there and see how much. And a queen is out!
A queen.
What the flip? What has he got a queen for?
Wow, it looks like he might be going Queen Broodling, perhaps, or maybe he's even, because basically, I assume not Ensnare, it doesn't really do a lot to the Goliaths, but going Queen Broodling to try to pick off those tanks to make these Hydralisks more effective, to again slow this army down. If he can run and pick off a tank or two, that's going to, again, greatly reduce the army attack capacity. Tons of Queens moving out. Reduce the attack capacity of Flash, basically, as long as he can pick those tanks off and not get nailed by those Goliaths. This is going to be the problem, though, is getting in there, sneaking in there, using the range, and maybe even catching those tanks. It looks like he just threw in a Parasite so he can get a good look at it, and again try to abuse the mobility issue and just drop where he needs to, or have the exact amount of forces, get a good look at the number of forces he's going up against, the tank sieging. And again, I don't think at this stage, I don't think Effort has enough mass, and I don't think he actually has enough energy to really affect this, so he just needs to delay Flash as long as possible. He's doing just that. He's spreading it out. Now the Queen's coming up, and I think they're just coming. Oh man, I wish we could see the energy on them. He's got to come in at just the right angle. Was able to get another Parasite off, so just parasiting the front of that Goliath line so he can get a good look at where they're staged, so he can maybe sneak around, get a good look, but just buying himself time now to get a larger attack front going.
Now Effort is actually pushing him with a lot of Hydros, but not nearly enough with all those tanks on the ridge. I think that was, when I saw him going in, I was like, oh, he's not going to go in. He doesn't have enough Hydras. He's just going to try and pick off that Vulture. But then he attacked with everything into this massive tanks, and I was really confused at that because he has Parasite on the middle of the tanks. He knew how many tanks were there. He's still moving in with another force, though, of Hydras. This second round may actually break it after all. I don't think quite yet, no. Some more reinforcements coming in for Flash. Flash is really pushing in here, and I'm surprised Effort isn't doing some kind of a counterattack, actually. Although Flash has a lot of mines in his base, so a drop into the main would not do too well. And those queens now have enough energy to do Broodling, and he Broodlings one of the tanks. Absolutely excellent. 2 more Broodlings on those tanks. Absolutely epic. I hope he doesn't Broodling the 1 hit point tank, because that would be kind of a waste, but, well, I guess he doesn't have any energy anyway. But picking off those last few tanks, Flash now pushing him with a few more tanks. He's shelling this expansion up here. Effort is trying to push him with these Hydras. A lot of Goliaths, but there's only a few tanks to deal with these Hydralisks. He's moving in, he's picking off the tanks individually, but no, he doesn't target the tanks. Now Mulus coming in as well, and unfortunately he's not really doing a very good job of targeting the correct kinds of units. He's not sending the Mutas after the tanks and trying to pick them off and trying to send the Hydras after the Goliaths. He instead just kind of ran in and let the tanks pick him off, the Hydras, and then sent in the Vulture. Oh my gosh, and he's building a command center there, saying, "You're not gonna save this base, buddy. It's not gonna happen, and I dare you to come here and try and save this base." And oh man, this is looking really bad for Effort now. Flash has just been building up crap, and I didn't see that he had that much stuff built up, and now he's just decided to push it home. And yeah, I think Effort would almost be better with almost a counterattack at this point. He's not going to be able to break that entrenched location with just throwing in pulse forces. He's trying to use Mutalisk to just delay the reinforcements, kill the tanks that are coming in, and that's a really good idea. But the Goliaths are now falling back, and Effort's not paying too much attention to those Mutalisks. They're going to die. Ugh.
Yeah, I think he's just panicking a little bit here and throwing whatever he can out there to try to buy him some time. There he GG's. Again, I think if he had just maybe done a precision attack and masked up ahead of time and maybe done a little bit more planning instead of just throwing everything out there at the last second, he was just freaking out. He lost all those drones at the 1 o'clock position. He's like, crap, game's over. I need to beat this now or nothing, and then just, yeah, sent bad unit combinations out, didn't really sweep around with the queens, didn't pick off the tanks he really needed to. I think it was a good strategy. It was a solid strategy. It's a strategy that could have worked. He just couldn't execute it, and I think most of that was because of nerves. And that's the difference between being in a championship situation prior, like Flash has, versus coming into it completely fresh like Effort.
Yeah, and you can see Effort looking a little bit flustered there, you know, kind of shaking his hand to, you know, cool himself off a little bit there. Yeah, you gotta wonder, and that's something we didn't really, yeah, see, look at him there, he's kind of like shaking up a little bit. I wonder if nerves do have something to do with it, because Flash has been here before. He's been in the finals chair several times, and he has dominated the finals several times. Effort is new on the stage, and he's facing the best StarCraft player in history on the final stage, so he might be a little bit nervous here, even though he's played a lot of TV matches and he's been in decently high up in Star Leagues before. This is a new experience for him, so very interesting to see him kind of get flustered there at the end of the game and just start throwing crap away. I think that's Flash's mom, by the way. Anyway, let's move on to game 2. GG.